Hello fellow nerds. Today is going to be a little different in preparation for what I think is going to be my first player character's death pretty soon. I have decided to create a backup character, and I'm currently toying with the idea of creating a druid, but I'm a bit intimidated by playing a spellcaster, so I thought I'd have a look at the Druid Spell List just to get a feel for what this might entail. So we are starting with the cantrips, and this is not going to be a complete read through because this is a very long list, and if my dwarven fighter should die anytime soon, which I think she will, because she's the tank of the group. She recently got 2 magical axes that made her very tanky, but also put a curse on her that whenever she takes damage she has to make a wisdom saving throw or go berserk, and her wisdom modifier is 0. She has failed every single save until now. Berserk means that she has to attack the closest enemy. I can't use second wind. I have to use my action to attack my closest enemy. So 3 actions and a bonus action are gone in that state. She can still use reactions, but that doesn't... I mean, that's still a good thing, but second wind heals pretty well, so yeah, and a lot of strategic thinking just goes out of the window the moment she goes berserk. And we have recently, 2 sessions ago to be exact, received our invitation to Castle Ravenloft, and our party is stupid. We are definitely going because we want to visit Vampire Daddy, and we are going to mess up badly. So I'm preparing a backup character, and I really want to play a druid. By the way, if you're interested in watching me actually create this character, like choose a race and the background and stuff, why don't you put that in the comments? Maybe that would be a fun idea for a video. So, enough rambling, let's have a look at the druid spells. Maybe I'm going to read out the names of a few of them, and if something sounds especially interesting, I'm going to read the details. So the first cantrip in this list is Control Flames, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's an action, the casting time is 1 action, it's instantaneous, and it's a control spell because it's called Control Flames. The next one is Create Bonfire, and that's a concentration spell. Now I'm reluctant to pick concentration spells, maybe because I'm still thinking from the fighter's perspective of getting hit all the time. Like, that's the point of a fighter, isn't it? hit and be hit. The next one is Druid Craft. It's also casting time of 1 action, instantaneous, but I'm not really sure what this does, so let's have a look. Whispering to the spirits of nature, you create one of the following effects within range. You create a tiny, harmless sensory effect that predicts what the weather will be at your location for the next 24 hours. The effect might manifest as a golden orb for clear skies, a cloud of rain, falling snowflakes for snow, and so on. The effect persists for 1 round. Or you instantly make a flower blossom, a seed pod open, or a leaf bud bloom. You create an instantaneous, harmless sensory effect such as falling leaves, a puff of wind, the sound of a small animal, or the faint odor of a skunk. The effect must fit in a 5-foot cube. Or you instantly light or snuff out a candle, a torch, or a small campfire. Interesting. Right now I lack the imagination to come up with a scenario where this spell is useful. The next cantrip is Frostbite, which I assume is an attack spell that deals cold damage. You cause numbing frost to form on one creature that you can see within range. The target must make a Constitution saving throw. On a fail save, the target takes 1d6 cold damage, and it has disadvantage on the next weapon attack roll it makes before the end of its next turn. Okay. The disadvantage part is useful. 1d6 damage is not that much, but it's a cantrip, so. The next one is Guidance, and that's a buff spell. You touch one willing creature. Once before the spell ends, the target can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to one ability check of its choice. It can roll the die before or after making the ability check. The spell then ends. Now my dwarf gets a lot of guidance from one of our warlocks, and it has saved her a couple of times. The next cantrip is Gust. Then we have Infestation, Magic Stone, Mending, Mold Earth, Poison Spray. This one also requires a con save and then deals poison damage. Let's see how much. You extend your hand towards a creature you can see within range and project a puff of noxious gas from your palm. The creature must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take 1d12 poison damage. A d12 is a lot for a cantrip. The next cantrip, I'm mentally marking Poison Spray for my druid. The next cantrip is Primal Savagery. Okay. Oh, it's behind a paywall. I'm using the D&D Beyond page for this. Let's go back up and filter for stuff I can use. which is only the basic rules and the player's handbook, because I'm not buying access to stuff I have as PDFs. But other than that, I'm a big fan of D&D Beyond. It's really helpful. So the next one is Produce Flame. That sounds like I can set stuff on fire, and it's a ranged attack, so I can set stuff on fire from afar. That would fit so well into our party. We like burning stuff down. So far we have, one of our warlocks has burned down a prison. My dwarf always suggests burning stuff down that's heavily guarded. Like the one time we tried to break into the, I think it was the mayor's house in Valaki, which was heavily guarded, which was a, big hint from our DM, like, do not go there. Do not go there. We did anyway. I think we nearly died. Yeah, and our plan was to, let's just burn it down, and that will get rid of the guards one way or another, rather than sneak in. The warlock, not the one who burned down the prison, the other one, the healer warlock, and my dwarf broke into the house. We went undetected for quite some time, and then I think we just set the kitchen on fire on our way out, because of course we got caught. Yeah, so it's a theme. Produce flame. Let's see if I can actually... A flickering flame appears in your hand. The flame remains there for the duration and harms neither you nor your equipment. The flame sheds bright light in a 10-foot radius and dim light for an additional 10 feet. The spell ends if you dismiss it as an action or if you cast it again. You can also attack with the flame, although doing so ends the spell. When you cast this spell, or as an action on a later turn, you can hurl the flame at a creature within 30 feet of you. Make a ranged spell attack. On a hit, the target takes 1d8 fire damage. Also, I can only target a creature? No, that's boring. That's like a cheap version of Fireball. And the next one is Resistance, which is a buff, and it should add 1d4 to saving throws, if I am not mistaken. Yes, 1d4 to a saving throw of your choice. And the next one is the iconic, and I have no idea how to pronounce this, Shillelagh? Shillelagh? I don't know how you pronounce this in English. And it's a bonus action. That's useful. The wood of a club or quarterstaff you are holding is imbued with nature's power. For the duration, you can use your spellcasting ability instead of strings for the attack and damage rolls of melee attacks using that weapon. And the weapon's damage die becomes a d8. The weapon also becomes magical if it isn't already. The spell ends if you cast it again or if you let go of the weapon. This sounds incredibly useful. First of all, because it's a bonus action. A d8 is nice for a cantrip, but it makes your weapon magical. And just last session we had the problem that we were attacked by a pack of werewolves. And I think at least the alpha wolf was immune to non-magical damage. That really sucked. Now the next one is Thorn Whip, a melee spell that deals piercing damage. Then we have Animal Friendship. Then we have Charm Person, Create or Destroy Water. I'm wondering, now this is one of those spells that can really annoy your DM, because destroy water. Can I destroy the water in someone's body and kill him like that? You know. Let's see. Oh, you destroy up to 10 gallons of water in an open container within range. Alternatively, you destroy fog in a 30-foot cube within range. Now I have no idea how much 10 gallons is, because I'm European, but it has to be in an open container. Is the body an open container? I mean, it's open at the nostril. Okay. I'm annoying myself. Yeah, and create water is you create up to 10 gallons of water within range in an open container. Oh, but you can also let it fall as rain in a 30-foot cube, extinguishing exposed flames in the area. That's useful. Then we have Cure Wounds. I always mix up Healing Word and Cure Wounds. Cure Wounds is the one where you have to touch the target, and Healing Word is where the target has to be within range and sight, right? And one of them healed more than the other. Let's see which is which. A creature you touch regains a number of hit points equal to 1d8 plus your spell casting modifier. Okay. But you have to get to the target. Now let's scroll down to Healing Word. That's a 1d4 plus your spell casting modifier. Okay. Moving on from Cure Wounds, we have Detect Magic, self-explanatory. Detect Poison and Disease, Entangle, Fairy Fire. Our Healer Warlock uses Fairy Fire a lot, and I'm honestly not really sure what it does, so let's take this opportunity to enlighten me. It's a debuff, okay? Each object in a 20-foot cube within range is outlined in blue, green, or violet light, your choice. Any creature in the area when the spell is cast is also outlined in light if it fails a dexterity saving throw. For the duration, objects and affected creatures shed dim light in a 10-foot radius. Any attack roll against an affected creature or object has advantage if the attacker can see it, and the affected creature or object can't benefit from being invisible. Oh, that's nice. No, but this is... Why does our warlock have this spell? That's a Bard, Druid, Artificer spell, or Light Domain, Twilight Domain, or the Arch. Oh, then his patron is an Archfey. That's good to know. Or maybe I shouldn't know this. Well, the dwarf doesn't know, so. The next, oh, we are in the first level spells, by the way. The next one is Fog Cloud, self-explanatory. Good Berry. If I remember correctly, you create good berries. I don't know how many, but if you eat them, you heal for 1d4, I think. Up to 10 berries appear in your hand and are infused with magic for the duration. A creature can use its action to eat one berry. Eating a berry restores 1 hit point, and the berry provides enough nourishment to sustain a creature for 1 day. Well, that sounds like a lot of work for a very small outcome. 1 hit point. I mean, I guess if your DM is strict with rations and, you know, cost of living and stuff, then this is a very useful spell. But I, as a DM, don't care about this. And the DM in our Curse of Strahd campaign doesn't seem to care that much about it either. Okay, the next one is Healing Word. Oh, that's a bonus action. That is super useful. Is Cure Wounds a bonus action? No, it's an action. Okay. I think Healing Word takes the win, even though it heals less than Cure Wounds. The next spell is Jump. Then we have Long Strider, Purified Food and Drink, Speak with Animals, Thunder Wave, Animal Messenger, Bark Skin. It's like mage armor, I assume. Let's have a look. You touch a willing creature. Until the spell ends, the target's skin has a rough bark-like appearance, and the target's AC can't be less than 16 regardless of what kind of armor it is wearing. Okay. Well, my dwarf's AC is 16. For some reason the warlock has a higher AC than I do. I think because of mage armor or something. The next one is Beast Sense. Oh, no, let's return to Barkskin. I think that would be helpful for the bard. She has like an AC of 12 or something and gets knocked out pretty easily. Apparently I'm the kind of player that chooses a backup character according to the needs of the party and not primarily according to what I would like to do. I mean, I do want to play a druid, but I also want to play a rogue. But the thing is, I'm already playing my fighter who is dex based in a very roguish manner, so I don't just want to recreate her. On the other hand, a druid is a spellcaster, and our party consists of 2 warlocks and a bard, an NPC, and a fighter. So then we... Oh, and a blood hunter, a new player joined recently. He's a blood hunter. So we would put it in all spellcaster party. It sounds just so unbalanced. But I don't just want to play barbarian. It's like, oh, your character died and you just pick the class closest to it and maybe make it a Goliath or something. Well, maybe we'll survive through a miracle or a sudden boost of common sense. Okay, returning to the Druid Spell List. Dark Vision, self-explanatory, enhance ability, find traps, that could be very useful, although we haven't encountered that many traps, not since the Death House. Well, the next one, and by the way, I've already missed, these are all second level spells. Flame Blade, Flaming Sphere. Now our healer warlock uses this, I think. He calls to a golden fox that then turns into a flaming ball that he can push around. The warlock pushes it around, not the fox. Then we have Gust of Wind, Heat Metal. Now that's a brutal spell, but not very useful in Barovia because the werewolves just wear trousers. The vampires wear normal clothes. The next spell is Hold Person. Then we have Lesser Restoration, which sounds like a healing spell, but really just removes a condition that can be blinded, deafened, paralyzed, or poisoned. Then we have Locate Object, Moonbeam. Oh, that deals radiant damage. That's useful in a vampire campaign. A silvery beam of pale light shines down in a 5-foot radius. 40-foot high cylinder centered on a point within range. Until the spell ends, dim light fills the cylinder. When a creature enters the spell's area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there, it is engulfed in ghostly flames that cause searing pain, and it must make a Constitution saving throw. It takes 2d10 radiant damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. A shape changer makes its saving throw with disadvantage. If it fails, it also instantly reverts to its original form and can't assume a different form until it leaves the spell's light. On each of your turns after you cast the spell, you can use an action to move the beam up to 60 feet in any direction. Vampires are shape changers, aren't they? And werewolves, were-ravens. This might be useful. The next spell is Pass Without a Trace, which is a buff that gives you, I think, +10 on stealth. Right? Yes, a +10 on stealth checks. The next one is Protection from Poison. Then we have Spike Growth. And that's the last second level spell. And I think this is a nice stopping point. Maybe I'll continue with the 3rd level spells. I'm not really sure yet what I'm going to do next. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Maybe you learned something. Spells can be quite confusing, and I honestly have a hard time remembering and retaining all that information, be it as a player or as a DM, which is a bit awkward sometimes. If I, as a DM, have to read up the difference between Healing Word and Cure Wounds as one of my players casts it, like, I'm sorry, my brain just doesn't retain information that well, but my table is cool, so they don't mind. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. I hope you're going to have a great day if you're just starting it. And if you're using this to fall asleep too, I wish you very pleasant dreams. And I'm looking forward to the next time. Until then, bye bye fellow nerd.